be nice enough to retweet those promos for a specific creator. And what I found on the Let's Discover Me tweets for promo with one creator involved is that I would see 50 to 100, or sometimes I'd say maybe, well, not so much 100, but I'd say maybe 50 to 70 retweets per post. So it didn't really matter what the content of the post was. And, sometimes, it's especially if you're getting guys to retweet or people who subscribe, fans, it matters the attractiveness of the model in the pictures. It matters, what they look like, what they're showing in the picture. All these things help with retweets. So you're going to have some that are going to get 10. You're going to have some that are going to get 30. It really just depends. Some will take off, and get 100. But these were consistent. So what I did was I researched, I looked, and what I found is there was about 50 to 100 fake Twitter profiles that Let's Discover Me has created. And these profiles only retweet Let's Discover Me properties. That's it. Nothing else. Some of them are designed to look like legit creators, SWs, OnlyFans creators, or companies. But they are basically just hollow shells. And, a lot of them are complete hollow shells with, no description, no bio, no pictures. And, these fake pages have retweeted sometimes 200, 600, 1,000 different promos or pages having to do with Let's Discover Me. Now, you might think, okay, well, maybe that's because there's some value to these profiles. Like they have thousands of followers and, somehow they ended up with these profiles and they wanted to make sure to reach out to these thousands of people for further exposure for their promo. The unfortunate thing here is these profiles don't have a lot of followers. Most of them have 50 followers tops, and they hold no value. The entire purpose is so that when you, as an OnlyFans creator, buy the promo, underneath you see 100 likes and you see 60 retweets and you think, wow, I got my money's worth off of this particular promo. And the unfortunate thing is that no, you probably did not. Now, you can see all, or about, I'd say it gets to a point of, where it gets a little boring, just going and researching, and posting each one of these. So I did about 50, and I posted them on the blog. So you can go and you can look at the Twitter handles with the fake profiles. And, obviously running fake accounts is in violation of Twitter rules, especially if those fake accounts are intending to enhance a tweet. Now, the irony here is it really doesn't do anything. Like, it's really not spinning and getting you more traffic or results, but it's still not up to par for Twitter. And you really can't just create these kind of accounts and do that. Now, the promo accounts that Let's Discover Me runs also have a bit of a problem with Twitter rules because they're all just the same thing. I also listed them on the blog, and you'll be able to see that not only do they have no distinguishing characteristic, they usually have the same title. It really, again, nothing differentiates these things, and so therefore, again, against Twitter's rules. So, and again, as I mentioned a little earlier, a lot of these accounts are refurbished accounts, from 2011 or, 8 years old, 7 years old, 5 years, however you want to look at it. They're older than when OnlyFans actually existed itself. And these are the accounts with 100,000 plus followers. And, as I've mentioned in the podcast, a lot of these people just don't exist anymore. They're dead accounts, or they're just followers that will never, ever take any actual real action. And as I mentioned a little earlier, that's why you're constantly in need of new blood, new people who are following your promo. Those people are the most likely to take action, to retweet. They're invested, they're showing up, they're coming in every single day. I mean, we all know, certainly if I have creators who have been doing this for a long time, you expand yourself out. You have a Twitter account, and then you have an Instagram, and you have a Reddit, and you have all these different things. And in the very beginning, you spend a ton of time with Twitter. And then once it's healthy and once it's running itself, then you go and you move on to some other things, but you come back maybe less than you used to. So you might spend 5 days a week on Twitter, and then you move down to 3. And that's a healthy amount so that you can go out and you can look at other things. So you definitely get the most action from new followers on an account, which, keep it lively and help the promotion as far as running individual promos for OnlyFans creators. The problem here would be that they don't have that kind of interaction. So most of the people who are, following them are old, and they are not impacting that promotion. So basically, I also went on to their website, unfortunately for me. Somehow they have a website, and it's pretty sketchy. There are packages, though, on this website to make it seem very legitimate. Again, I go over each package in detail on the blog, but I'll just give a little bit of a summary here. One thing that just stands out is they promise direct messages to OnlyFans members, which is just weird. I think one of them had less than 10, maybe 10. They were going to send DMs, and anyone who's been on OnlyFans for more than 5 minutes knows that the average, fan gets so much in their DMs that's the area I say that you should spend the least amount of time in, because there's just so much deluge. So, also, if this is the kind of company that creates fake Twitter accounts, they're going to create, I'm not saying they're necessarily fake, but they're going to have OnlyFans member, quote unquote, accounts just to say they sent it out. Like, I sent it out to these 60 people, and they're probably the same 60 fake accounts from Twitter. So, also they have these ridiculously inflated numbers as far as, their reach and the number of people they're going to expose you to. And one of my favorite parts is one of the packages just changes in price by $6, and it goes from 1 million exposure to 2 million exposure. So for $6 more, somehow they found another million people on Twitter that they can just shove you over to, all for, whatever amazingly low price. And it's very hard to believe that creators will get much reach from these pages, because they definitely, you do have a lot of reach. Like, when they're using the term reach, they're basically using impressions. So as I've mentioned before, we get 30 million, 40 million as far as, impressions every single month at OnlyFans Hero. And that's great. That's a great number, but that's not your reach. So it basically means the entire reach of the entire account, meaning every single tweet that was sent out had 30, 40 million impressions. Now, if you send out several thousand tweets each, month, then each tweet shares some of those impressions. It doesn't mean that when someone tweets, and this is pretty obvious, that you're going to get 20 million impressions on that or 30 million impressions. What it says is the account is healthy. It has a lot of people who are looking at it. I don't believe their numbers as far as that. I do know that in order to have those kind of impressions, as I mentioned, you have to have a lot of, new people coming in, as well as people who are recent, and they just don't have that. Okay, now next point is that they are located in, I think, the United Kingdom, not the United States. Now, they say all over their Twitter pages that they are located in Los Angeles, California. But when you go to the website, it says that they are in the UK. They have a +44 number that's associated to WhatsApp. and they claim to be at an address in London, which is either inside of a hotel or right above the hotel. It's very hard on Google Maps to tell where they exactly are, or even if that address really exists. It's an address, quote unquote, right above the Victoria Station Hotel, which looks like a hotel room. Again, not anything that can be distinguished as actually existing. So they are claiming again that they are in the United Kingdom. So certainly not the United States. And I see no real proof that they exist in the UK either. They use a program called Domains by Proxy to hide the registration information on their domain, which doesn't always mean bad things, but it also just might prove out where they actually exist. Whether or not it's in the UK or not, I don't know, but it's just another thing that says chances are not so much. And they also don't have a high grasp of the English language on the letsdiscoverme.com website. It's certainly wanting. There's certainly parts that you're just pretty sure that this is not a native English speaker in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so that's kind of the summary of their site and what they're up to. As I mentioned, feel free to go on the blog. It gives a bit more detail. But the big thing is, what can you do to keep creators off of this promotion? Now, unfortunately, I don't want to be the sort of person who punishes, someone for buying a promo and trying, so I don't want to say, don't retweet, when you see their promos, because again, you're punishing a fellow creator, someone who's trying to succeed. But if you see a creator on one of the promos, feel free to reach out and let them know this is not legit, and the numbers aren't either. So what they're getting is basically a scam, and they're being told that these things are going to happen, and they're just not happening. And my big thing is that you don't have to lie to people. There's no reason to lie when doing a promotion. You can say, okay, they don't have the numbers that someone might actually want, but in all honesty, if they just told people the absolute truth of what was going on, they might still sell promotions. They might have to sell them for a little less. I don't know. But they're doing things that are very reminiscent to me. I've mentioned before that I have a long background in search engine optimization. I've been doing this for 20 years. There was a time when these sort of techniques were very popular in the world of search engine optimization, where people would basically create fake profiles, fake sites, fake links, all to manipulate what Google was going to do. And sometimes it was very effective and sometimes it wasn't. But I would often see people doing things even at way beyond the point at which it was still effective. Or they were doing them and they were completely unneeded. So they would have ranked anyway well, but they went ahead and just threw themselves into scammy activities. Now, as I mentioned, their retweets wouldn't do anything anyway. So the only thing that's happening here is the attempt to deceive people who are buying the promos that they are more effective than they are. And the only reason I would say that they're doing that is to be able to point and say, it's you, it's not my promo. So look, you had 60, 70 retweets, 100 likes, if you must have sold somebody, that kind of argument. So the reason I would say that they're doing it is to deceive and to basically make it so that people can't say, oh, you didn't do what I paid you to do, or these numbers that you're giving me of millions, how can you have millions of followers and I only got 3 retweets? And it could have happened that they started out and they only got 3 retweets. So people were like, I want my money back. And they then created all of these people just so that would stop happening. So I would definitely, if you see one of these, reach out. If you see a Let's Discover Me title in any Twitter handle that you follow, go ahead and unfollow it. If they do happen to post, a regular post, it's not, something that is a fellow creator being